So hi guys, welcome at the third episode of Vim series, Vim Basics. Now today I'd like to tell you more about some advanced stuff and about some cool commands and some power commands. Now I told about the Vim series to a friend of mine and he was so funny. He said that he disliked the videos because I didn't mention how to actually quit a Vim. Now quitting Vim program is sort of an internet meme because for a new user who's not used to Vim or Vim-like programs, it's not quite obvious to how to end it. You have to get the mindset of launching commands and stuff. So I know it's easy, and if you got into the third episode, you don't really need to know it because you already know it. But if I quickly open the index just for the sole purpose of demonstrating, if you go to the if you press colon to go to the command mode, just press Q, it will exit the file. Now if you made some changes, it will ask you about change if you really want to change it. So like Q, you have to add the exclamation mark if you want to quit it without changes. So it's not what I want. I want to save it, so I'll do W and it's saved. And I can even do W and Q, which stands for save and quit. Okay, it was easy. Yeah, actually need to correct the HTML. Alright. Oh, what have I done? So, let's jump on to the very cool commands. If I open the file again, you can actually run shell scripts from within open Vim file or from within Vim. It doesn't actually quit the Vim, it will only show you the shell for your specific command for a brief period and lets you go back. Now, how to achieve it and what's all is it about? If you go to the command mode and press exclamation mark, it now expects a shell input or standard input. So I can now say ls. Again, I go to command line with colon and exclamation mark for a shell command and ls. If I press enter, I can see the result of ls, meaning list directory, here, and it tells me to press enter or type command to continue. So if I press enter, I'm back at Vim, and I quickly looked at the shell or wanted to look at something at shell. So it could be used for something like man, I don't know, sudo. And you can read some brief explanation of something you probably want to use in your code, and then you quit the man page with Q and enter back here. Now this is very useful. You can use it for just like quickly looking something else without the need to quitting the Vim. And there is also a way for a Vim to read the output of this standard input of the shell it launches. So let's say I'm here in the HTML file and I run the span. Let's imagine this is an article. It will be span class date, and I'm here and I want to insert a date, current date. I can actually go to the command mode, press R, which stands for read the standard output, like the result of the shell, the subshell you're creating, exclamation point, and now your command again. So it will be, let's say, date, without a parameter, just for sake of explanation. Now it actually will read the result of this shell it's accessing from within the Vim. So if I press enter, I got the current date. Because again, if I would do it without it, it would tell me the result here in the standard output, and I would press enter again. So you can use it for whatever you want. You can use it like reads ls, and you can get the result of current directory listed here. So that's very handy. Now another thing, whatever you want to configure that's not already set in Vim, you want to have a vimrc file. It's a configuration file that usually by default resists or is located in your home directory, and we will want to edit it now because we'll use it for a lot of examples in this episode. So I'm going to quickly quit this and I go to home directory, I'll use vimrc. If it doesn't exist already on your computer, it probably doesn't if you haven't already created this Vim syntax will also create it. I already have some stuff here. Actually, quickly explain. Syntax on is just for displaying syntax automatically of selected files. That's why you have seen HTML syntax highlighted, like color separated, and CSS separated. This stands for numbers, so this is numbers here. There's also another one, relative numbers. I think it's like this. Save it. If I would quit the terminal window now and reopen a Vim file, it would take effect already, but I can also do command source and the path to the vimrc file, which is currently this one, and it will, the source actually takes the vimrc and applies it to the current window. So relative number is a cool Vim built-in set that, as you can see, instead of displaying the absolute number, it displays the absolute number on the current line, but then just relative numbers here. And it's very handy if you are doing some around commands, like select from here to there, and you don't need to type large line numbers. You can use this, but I don't use it that much, so I don't need it in my root file. And this is just for a title in the title window. This is for auto completion of command from a command mode of Vim, and I just set some indentation here. Now, what we will do here is doing some binding or key binding or mapping. Now, you can map to whatever you want in whatever mode you want, but one I'll show you will be in insert mode. You will separate the modes and maps for the modes by the first letter. So let's say I for insert mode, map. Now whatever I write here, it will only map or bind the keys in the insert mode. And the syntax is the mapping command, now the key you want to map, or keys you want to map, and the command you want to map. So I map, and I usually do JJ because most of the files I edit are either in Czech language or English, and there are no words that have consecutive J's, like double J's in them, or any way of typing JJ in normal language, or Czech or English. That's why I map JJ to doing escape and this. Now if I quickly save it, let's see what it does. We can actually load this file into this file. Now again, if I source the vimrc, it would actually let me apply the current settings to the current file. If I would quit it and open whatever file we were at before, it already applies. Now what we said was for JJ, 2 consecutive J letters in insert mode, it would press escape, colon, and W, which would get us from the insert mode to the normal mode and saved file. Why am I using this? That's just because if I place my hands on a home row, I don't want to reach to the escape every time I want to go to normal mode. And I'll also save it because from my current workflow, it's just faster to do it this way. So let's say I'm here in title and I'm in insert, and I now type whatever JJ. You saw a J for a brief moment, and then I pressed another J, and it actually deleted the first J because it understood that it's a special mapping. So it deleted the letter and executed the command. Now the command was escape, so jump back to normal mode and type W or a colon and W. So you can see it now here in command. If I press enter, I actually saved it. So if you can also just type escape, and this way you will just escape it from the from the insert mode. So I'm now here, and if I do JJ, I'm back in normal mode. So this is handy. You can map whatever you want, even in a normal mode, in an insert mode, in a visual mode, in any other mode. And this is quite practical. Now, another cool stuff, tabs. You can actually use tabs from within the Vim without any plugin. If I go to the command mode and do tab find, you can do tab edit, but I use tab find because I'm used to doing the findings from within tab tree. Yeah, I know I have the, yeah, we can combine that. Yeah, let's say exclamation ls. You can quickly see the files in the current directory. So I have this neon.css. So I can say tab find knee, and I can press tab to autocomplete. There are plenty others. Okay, neon.css, enter, and you can see here we have tabs. In the same Vim window, we have separate tabs with different the buffers, with the same buffer. So how you navigate through them? Well, you can say, yeah, I forgot screen keys. Sorry, I need to. I will just quickly open the screen keys. Yeah. So if I do GT, I jump to the previous tab, and G capital T to the next one. So you can use tab close. Most of the time, if you just quit the file, it's much faster, and there are differences in buffers and tabs, but it doesn't really matter. If you just do QA, you quit all the current tabs in Windows, and it's just faster. Oh yeah, I didn't finish the, yeah, I had some changes in the file. You can also do, instead of doing tab open and tab edit from within a single file, because this is not very practical, if you are used to work on multiple files every time, you can actually open Vim with a p parameter, so Vim p, and then you can do asterisks and .html, for example, or any, you can type out all the individual files, but you can do the asterisk shorthand. And if I do this, I got, as you can see, multiple tabs open right now. So I can just QA to kill them all. Now, if you open the Vim man page and look for X, I actually found out about this just reading the manual. There is this X mode, which when you open Vim with a parameter X and a test file, whatever, it prompts you with encryption key, so test, and you have to confirm it. And now whatever you type into the file test, it's just a regular file, but once you save and quit it, if you open it just like that, test file, it asks you for a password, and if you type it wrong, you see a gibberish. It's just an encrypted file. You can see the algorithm, the encryption algorithm here at the bottom. So you need to type the right password to get into the file back where it's was. And this is the default built-in encryption function in Vim, so you don't need to install any other third-party plugin, and it's quite handy if you just want to encrypt some config or private file. This is a cool command. So yeah, don't just test it out. Next thing I want to tell you about are macros and marks. If we jump back, if we can open the neon CSS file. Let's say I want to repeat some action which involves multiple commands. Okay, this is not. I will just do some not very useful test case, but you can come up with whatever you want. If you type Q in normal mode, Vim now expects a letter. You can choose any of the 26 letters. I will use A. And what it does is that I called, it now records whatever I do. I'm on default, I'm in normal mode. Whatever I do into a macro called A.
Okay, so Q initiates new macro. A was the name I gave it. You can choose 26 macros from for everywhere. And now everything I now do, it will record it, and once I press Q in normal mode again, it will pause the recording. So let's say I'm on a margin here. I will do, I don't know, yeah, I can press 0 to get to the beginning of a line. I can now say delete to the end, and J to jump to the line below. And I'll press Q again, and it's saved in macro A. Now remember, what we did was we jumped to the beginning of a line, deleted the word to the end, and moved a line below. So technically, if we go anywhere on the current line and we would repeat the macro, it would jump back to the beginning, delete the word, and move below. You can invoke macros by typing add symbol and the name of the macro, so A. See, you deleted the word to the end from the beginning and jump line below it. Alright, so if I do it again, and it's saved in macros in the current buffer. And if you go here, this is just an example, if you type 2 add symbols, it will repeat the previous, the last macro you invoked. So like this. So I can repeat it with double add symbols. So this can be very handy. I will just quit the file and open again, so I don't have the changes there. So that were macros. Now I'll talk to you about the encryption, and I will now show you marks. You can actually mark the lines for whatever purpose you want. Let's say I want to mark the first line. Okay, similar to the syntax of macros, if I press M, Vim now expects a name of the macro, the mark. So let's say O. We now marked this current line with a letter O. You can actually run a command called marks, and you can see here O stands for the first line. I had all the other marks from before. So first line is a mark O. Now you can use it for quickly moving throughout the file. Let's say I want to copy this block of code. What I can do now is jump to the what mode I'm in. Okay. Jump to the end of the line, and now I'm on the opening bracket. If I press the percent sign, I'm at a closing bracket. And if I now do some action key, which expects a motion key, let's say yank or a delete, okay, or let's go with yank. I can press yank, and I now type this syntax, so this character, and the name of the mark, which was O. It says we yanked 6 lines. The syntax was simply, we can do D. So D is O. We delete it from the line of the mark to this current line. And the previous example was, and the marks is still there, was yank from the position of a mark to the current location. So we yanked 5 lines. If I go here and paste it, you can repeat it. So you can yank from marks to the current point, or delete from marks to the current point. And we can also do another very practical thing. If we go to some long, let's say imagine this is a long declaration in CSS, okay? I'm here, and what I can do is create a new mark. So MT, I just mark this position. If I go to the end of the specification, to the closing bracket, So I'm now here on line 44. I can do Z, which stands for code folding. So I can do Z, or Z, F, single quote, and name of the mark, T. Okay, and it's folded because it recognized the opening and closing bracket. We marked it at the opening bracket and we closed it at the closing bracket, or we invoked the code folding command at the closing bracket. So again, I can do MP, quickly jump to the closing mark. I can do Z, or Z, F, single quote, P, the mark. So ZF, single quote, and mark will fold the code from the mark to the end. Now I can work with this file, which is fine. And if I'm on the line of the folding, I can do ZO to open it, or C to close it, or if I just don't want to bother with it, I can do ZA, which toggles the closing or opening state. And if a Z and a combination of letter is too long for you, you can actually combine what we learned previously, and you can use vimrc to map a normal mode command, just a single key, to do the folding. So let's say just a simple letter Z. And the next and the last cool thing I want to show you is default no plugin Vim code completion. So let's say I'm here and I just want to type background. I can just say back, and now I can press Ctrl and N, and Vim will already autocomplete a word based on the file syntax it recognized, and because this is CSS, it's already built in and I can use it. Now you can actually use built-in auto completing submenu. If I just on B, I can just use arrow keys to use it. So yeah, I can use M, Control N, and I can choose. This is handy, not that much for like saving time, but for when you know the syntax, but you are not really sure how exactly is it spelled or what words are where. So this is very handy. Just Control N for the current word. You need to have the syntax recognized by Vim, but once you have it, it's alright. You can just use it like this. Yeah, so this was my third episode for advanced Vim commands and how you can actually use it as sort of a IDE without the need for a bloated big IDE. Yeah, so thank you very much for watching, and let me know in comments if you liked it and if you want to watch even some more Vim videos. So see you.